Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to workshop 2 of 4 of the Best Year AI Action Class series. I am your host, Katie Milton Jordan, and we are going to hop right into our presentation and get you guys off on your next set of workflows. So quick context for the folks who may be joining us for the first time. We are doing a 4 workshop series AI action class based on the Best Year Journal, which is a hard copy reflection and projection journal that is published by an organization called Intelligent Change. This is a fantastic book. However, it's been sitting on my shelf for the last 5 years, and every year I try to do my reflection and projection and just can't seem to get it done for a variety of reasons. Those reasons are mostly twofold in my experience. One has to do with energy bandwidth, right? Some of these questions can be vulnerable and dig up some things inside you that you might not feel comfortable journaling about or facing or processing or addressing. So that has been a challenge for me. Also, another challenge is prioritizing this personal and professional time to reflect and project. It's easier for me to prioritize work that actually affects the operations in my business instead of the work that actually affects the operations inside myself as a leader. So let's take a quick look at where we've been. In workshop 1, we did the year in review, reflecting on gratitude and achievement. And today we are going to be taking a look at knowledge gained, letting go of the past. So the goal of today's workshop is to extract wisdom and essential lessons from past challenges, disappointments, and mistakes, creating a sense of inner peace and clarity for the future. Some of the key topics that we will be going through as we work through our AI workflow is identifying the top 5 lessons and career lessons from recent challenges, listing and reflecting on disappointments and roadblocks, determining patterns, habits, relationships, or beliefs that one is willing to leave behind, learning to let go exercise for emotional release. And at the end of this workflow, the deliverable that you will walk away with is a lessons learned and release list, a detailed summary of life and career lessons, and a prioritized list of habits and beliefs to consciously let go of before 2025 ends and 2026 begins. So let's do a brief reminder of the agenda for the AI action class. In the beginning, we spend a few minutes giving an introduction, explaining that an AI action class is taking the main ideas and concepts from a popular business or personal development book and turning it into an AI workflow so that we can accomplish 3 things at once. The first thing we accomplish by using an AI workflow is that we gain AI fluency. The next thing that we gain is we gain insights and knowledge from these books without actually having to read them, right? This is like our modern day AI version of a book summary service. And the last thing is that we get a completed deliverable so that we are able to take action on the main concepts in the book immediately. So now that you have an introduction, we're going to move into our Learn section that I briefly described to you about workshop 2. What we're going to be focusing on today is knowledge gained and letting go of the past. Again, the book is The Best Year Journal by Intelligent Change. And before we jump into the workflow, I want to remind you to work on your work. Try not to use hypotheticals or synthetic information if you can help it. Make sure that you're actually giving it real information because good data in will give you good data out. Also, remember that this is your time to learn and explore. So you may want to take some time to get into a comfy, quiet environment so you can really spend some time reflecting on these questions and your responses. Although full disclaimer, I actually completed this workshop over 3 days because I did not have a time container large enough for me to be able to complete all the workflow prompts from beginning to end. So I just kept that tab open on my computer and came back to it as I was able to give it my full focused attention. So there's another way to do that. Also, if you can't think of answers, you can ask the AI to make suggestions based on what it knows about you. And I want to highlight that this has probably been the biggest hack for me to get these deliverables completed and get through these workflows. And I'm going to be illustrating for you again today how I have been using my LLM to respond to questions that save me time and increase my productivity. Also, if you get stuck, just speak to the AI as though you were giving instructions to an in-person assistant. Just use your plain English language. This is not what I wanted. Do this instead. And I am here to help you if you get stuck. Now, we are doing this asynchronously, so you won't be able to ping me in the exact moment. Well, you can ping me in the exact moment that you're completing this exercise via email or send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help you get unstuck, listen to your reflections and insights, and provide feedback. So please reach out to me anytime. But we are going to record the workflow that I've done today as an illustration for you to help you get through your workflow. So once we complete that, you will close out the video recording and go work independently on the workflow. So let's jump into our workflow. Okay, here is workshop 2, the workflow. So we are focusing on knowledge gained, letting go of the past. So the AI has been instructed to be a journaling and personal growth expert. Your role is to guide me through reviewing my past challenges, extracting lessons learned, creating a definitive list of things I'm willing to leave behind. At each step, you will explain where we are in the process, ask for context to complete the next step, confirm completion, and the goal is to finish the entire process by the time the last step is done. So here are the steps that we are going to work through in order. Step 1 is going to be extracting life lessons from 2025. Step 2 is going to be extracting career lessons from 2025. Step 3 is confronting disappointments. Step 4 is crafting the release list, letting go. And step 5 is the final deliverable lessons learned and release list. One note I do want to make here is that this particular workflow can feel uncomfortable because there are vulnerabilities associated with it. So give yourself the time and space that you need to work through this in a healthy and helpful way. And don't be afraid to pause the work and come back to it if you have to. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to copy the actual prompt. So in this case, we want to copy all of this with the exception of the title, right? You could probably still copy and paste the title and the AI would figure it out. But in the event that we don't want to confuse the LLM, we're just going to copy that section. This PDF has been provided to you. So look for the link to this PDF so you can get this workflow. Go ahead and open your preferred LLM. And I'm actually going to go back to where I actually did the work right here. So I pasted the workflow in here. So here is the workflow, and AI came back to me with a series of questions. It said, okay, it introduces itself to me. I'm your guided reflection and integration expert. We're going to work on knowledge gained and letting go of the past from the best with your journal. It lists the steps in order that we're going to be working through. And then it asks me, do you want a brief overview or do you want to jump straight in? And I actually said, I wanted a brief overview because for folks who are doing this for the first time and might not be familiar with intelligent change or the specific reflection and projection journal, an overview can be helpful to setting the context about what you're going to be doing in this AI work section. So why reflection and release matter? Here's a brief overview. Take time to read this and process this information as you go into this exercise. Now it asks me, are we ready to move into step 1? Yes, we are. We're going to do extracting life lessons. So this is where we identify the core life lessons of the past year or recent chapter, because this is something that doesn't need to be done on an annual basis. You could do this quarterly if you wanted to, or daily, which is probably a bit too much, but you do you. This does not need to be done at year end. You pick your cadence and what season means to you. So here's our context questions. What 3 to 5 lessons you learned recently and what moments or experiences taught you each lesson? And again, as I've shared with you, one of my challenges in getting this journal complete was my emotional bandwidth and going back and thinking about these lessons, they can feel uncomfortable because it reminds you of things that were not particularly great. So one of the ways that I hacked this was I opened a new chat window and I said, based on what you know about me, respond to these questions, right? So I gave it the questions in there, and then I actually made a few notes of things that were top of mind for me, just a small paragraph, right? And then it took that information and it responded to these questions, which made this a significantly lighter emotional lift, right? So now I have all of this information in here and I can tell the AI to edit it if I want, which I did. I said, recall that, I didn't take this trip as desired. I make a comment on this point that AI gives me, and I add some additional context on this point. So AI makes the correction, and here's the clean, truer, more precise version that reflects what actually happened in 2025. It integrates your leadership insight, grounds the belonging piece in Brene Brown's work. And so here's our updated life lessons aligned to reality. Great. So I took this content and I pasted it back into here, right? Into the original, where the original prompt is. So I got this output, and again, a significantly lighter lift. So it gives me the summary, right? The lessons that I learned, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5, lesson 6, lesson 7, and the meta lesson of the year is I don't need permission, position, or place to lead. I need alignment, intention, and the courage to stay visible, even when the map falls short. It asks me, does this feel true and accurate? I say, yes, it does. Well, no, actually, for this, I actually added some more context. There are no buts here. So it incorporated, I'll integrate everything you just shared, right? So again, we're illustrating how AI is actually better than humans at creating the first draft, and humans are better than AI at editing. So let's let AI do the heavy lifting of the first draft. We add our human edits in there so we can get the best output. So I say integrate this information. So here is our life lesson summary, integrated and complete. So now it moves us on to the next step. Are you ready for step 2, extracting career and work lessons? I say yes, proceed. So now it gives me another series of questions, which again, you guessed it, I copied and pasted those over into another LLM saying, based on what you know about me, what are the responses to these questions? Again, AI gives me the first draft, and let's see if AI got it right this time or if I asked for any edits. Yes, look at this one. I actually had quite a bit to say for edits. I want to say more about this and for this. So I add my edits. AI says, this is an important nuance. You're right to call it out. So it gives us, I'll articulate this clearly without softening it, and it adds more context, and let's see where it integrates it. Yes, integrate this new information into the last step's output and move on to the next step. Okay. So here we go. So we've integrated that. Now I'm copying that and I bring it back over here and I paste it in. Career lesson 1, career lesson 2, career lesson 3, so on and so forth. Now it gives me the summary of the career lessons, and it's going to move on to the next step, the meta career truth. Your career is no longer defined by the systems you serve. It is defined by the systems you build. Are you ready for step 3? I say yes, proceed. So step 3, reviewing disappointments and roadblocks. Now this one was a hard one for me, just because this brings up a lot of emotional baggage that feels tender and vulnerable. So it asks the context questions. Again, I take the context questions, I post it in here. Based on what you know about me, reply to these questions. Okay? And it is just dawning on me that that screen may not be sharing with you guys. Let's see here, workshop 2. Yes, I'm seeing that it's not sharing that. I sincerely apologize. So we're going to share this tab instead. And this is where I pasted the original workflow at the top, run this workflow step by step, and hopefully you guys were able to hear what I was doing. Here's it walks me through each one of the steps and asks me if I want a summary. Here's where I get the powerful overview, moves me into step 1, extracting the life lessons. These are the questions that I copy and I move into the new chat window over here saying, based on what you know about me, reply to these questions. So I apologize for overlooking that earlier, and hopefully everybody got caught up to where we're at now. We are on the step where we are reviewing disappointments and roadblocks, but essentially what I'm doing is toggling between 2 different tabs. I am using ChatGPT, but these workflows are LLM agnostic. You can use any LLM that you want. So I'm going to go back into my original window and scroll back down to our disappointments. Let's see here. There's my leadership lesson. Here are my career lessons summary. And we move on to reviewing disappointments and roadblocks. So again, it's going to give these questions right here. I'm going to copy these. I'm going to move into my new window over here. And I'm going to say, based on what you know about me, reply to these questions and paste the questions in there. So AI says, okay, here are the responses based entirely on what I know about your year, your patterns, and the truth that you've been navigating. So it gives me some information. And now that we are at this advanced step, there was actually not much that I needed to edit, but you can see that here I did add some more information in here, and it integrated it into the next iteration. So I copied this output, brought it back over here, pasted these disappointments, failures, and roadblocks for this year. The AI integrates this. Here's the disappointments reflection log, and it moves on to ask me step 4, pattern recognition. What no longer serves you? So here's our pattern recognition. What no longer serves you? Here are the context questions again. I'm going to copy these context questions and I move them into the new chat window over here. Again, based on what you know about me, respond to these questions, pattern recognition, what no longer serves you. Pasted that in there and it gives me the responses. And let's see if I edited this one. No, I did not edit that one at all. So I copied this output right here, all the things that I was ready to release. I brought it back over to the original tab and said pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, everything that I'm ready to release before the end of 2025 so I can go into 2026 lighter. So again, each pattern below, it gives a release pattern list, the pattern, why it existed, and why it's no longer needed. This gives your nervous system permission to stop running outdated code. So we've got all of that summary in there, what I'm ready to release. And does this release pattern feel accurate? I say yes, proceed. So it moves on to step 5, learning to let go, the conscious release. Again, it gives me a series of context questions. What emotion, belief, or expectation are you most ready to release? What would feel lighter mentally or emotionally if you let this go? So again, we copy these context questions. We toggle into the other tab that we're working in. And I say, based on what you know about me, respond to these questions. AI gives me its response. Let's see if I edited this. No, it looks like that one came out good. And I think that you will find that as the AI gets to know you better, and you work through the final steps of this, its responses are going to get better and tighter. So I pasted the items in here that I was ready to release. And it gives me, here is my letting go statement, what you're releasing, why it existed, and what becomes possible without it. This will serve as your psychological closure document for 2025, the moment you stop running old code. So it asked my confirmation, is this what you want, or do you want any edits? So I said, yes, proceed. And now we have knowledge gained, life lesson summary. So this is my final output, right? The best year journal, knowledge gained, letting go of the past. Here is the life lesson summary. Here's the career lesson summary section. disappointments and reflection log. We also have the release pattern list, letting go statement, closing declaration, right? So what I did was I copied this final output. I brought it over here to a lessons learned and released list. So I have the output from workshop 1 saved in a Google Drive and the output from workshop 2 saved in the same drive. And once I have my 4 deliverables, that is what I am going to use to do some reflection on and store that for the end of 2025. Okay, let's hop back into our presentation and take a look at where we've been and what your very next steps are to complete this action class. So now is when you would spend the next 25 minutes doing the application exercise. Again, we did the introduction and we did some learning. Now is your time to apply the AI workflow. And I would genuinely like to hear what your feedback is on this AI action class and what insights you are gaining, as well as how can I support you in your best year. So complete the workflow. And if you feel so moved, drop me an email or a DM on LinkedIn and let me know what you're taking away from workshop 2. Stay tuned for workshop 3 next week. See y'all again soon.